Hello everyone, I'm Dr. LABIHA AYESHA, a third year radiology resident from MJ Medical College and Hospital, Navi Mumbai, presenting a paper entitled The Role of Computed Tomography in the Diagnosis of Acute and Chronic Pulmonary Thromboembolism. Pulmonary thromboembolism remains one of the most challenging cardiovascular emergencies, representing a significant cause of morbidity and mortality worldwide. The annual incidence of pulmonary thromboembolism is estimated at 1 to 2 cases per thousand with a mortality of 30%. The distinction between acute and chronic pulmonary thromboembolism is particularly crucial as these conditions require different therapeutic approaches. CT imaging plays a vital role in differentiating between these conditions through specific imaging characteristics, including thrombus position, vessel size, and associated parenchymal findings. Aim and objectives. Aim is to study the role of computed tomography in the diagnosis of acute and chronic pulmonary thromboembolism, and the objectives are to diagnose pulmonary thromboembolism by using multi-detector CT for performing CTPA, to determine whether thromboembolism is acute or chronic, to correlate with presence of risk factors like DVT and serum D-dimer levels. Materials and methods. This is a descriptive study done in Department of Radiodiagnosis, MGM Hospital, Navi Mumbai, over a period of 2 years from May 23 to May 25 with a sample size of 50. Inclusion criteria. Exclusion criteria of the study. The CT assessment parameters were presence and location of emboli, characteristics distinguishing acute from chronic pulmonary thromboembolism, associated parenchymal changes, evidence of right heart strain with RVLV ratio, and presence of acute pulmonary hypertension or chronic thromboembolic pulmonary hypertension with diameter of main pulmonary artery. This was the classification criteria used to differentiate between acute and chronic pulmonary thromboembolism. Moving on to the cases. Case number 1. The axial and coronal images showing complete lumen occluding filling defect involving the distal main pulmonary artery extending into the right main pulmonary artery in a case of acute pulmonary thromboembolism. Case number 2. Showing a saddle thrombus in a case of acute pulmonary thromboembolism. Case number 3. Showing filling defects involving the lobar branches of right upper and left lower lobes. Case number 4. Showing filling defects involving the lobar branches in a case of acute pulmonary thromboembolism, demonstrating the polo mint sign. Case number 5. Showing filling defects involving the segmental and subsegmental branches of bilateral lower lobes in a case of acute pulmonary thromboembolism. Next case, showing wall thickening and luminal narrowing involving the segmental and subsegmental branches of bilateral lower lobes in a case of chronic pulmonary thromboembolism. Next case, showing multiple peripheral wedge-shaped lung parenchymal infarcts involving the bilateral lung parenchyma in a case of acute pulmonary thromboembolism. Next case, showing acute pulmonary arterial hypertension as shown by dilated main pulmonary artery in the image 1 and RV strain with a dilated right ventricle in a case of acute pulmonary thromboembolism. Next case showing lung parenchymal scars from old pulmonary infarcts with mosaic attenuation of the lung parenchyma and right ventricular strain in a case of chronic pulmonary thromboembolism. Another case showing deep vein thrombosis involving the right common iliac vein, right external iliac vein, right femoral vein, right popliteal vein with IVC filter in situ in a case of pulmonary thromboembolism. Next case showing grossly dilated main pulmonary artery and its right and left branches. RV strain as demonstrated by dilated right ventricle, the bronchial collaterals and mosaic attenuation of lung parenchyma in a case of chronic pulmonary thromboembolism. Same case demonstrating signs of collateralization in a case of chronic pulmonary thromboembolism, dilated anterior intercostal arteries, posterior intercostal arteries and internal mammary artery. Same case showing dilated phrenic artery in coronal and sagittal images as a sign of collateralization in a case of chronic pulmonary thromboembolism due to development of chronic thromboembolic pulmonary arterial hypertension. These were the results of the study. This study evaluated the role of computed tomography in diagnosing acute and chronic pulmonary thromboembolism by analyzing various imaging findings, clinical parameters, and outcomes in 50 patients. The findings provide valuable insights into the demographic patterns, risk factors, imaging characteristics, and clinical outcomes associated with both acute and chronic pulmonary thromboembolism. To conclude, this comprehensive study of 50 patients with pulmonary thromboembolism has demonstrated the crucial role of computed tomography in diagnosing and differentiating between acute and chronic pulmonary thromboembolism. Our findings reveal distinct imaging patterns, with acute cases consistently showing filling defects, while chronic cases presented with more varied findings, including luminal narrowing and concentric wall thickening. The identification of prolonged immobilization as the predominant risk factor, along with the high prevalence of concurrent DVT in acute cases, emphasizes the importance of preventive measures and early screening in high-risk population. The presence of RV strain in a significant proportion of acute cases reinforces the need for careful hemodynamic assessment. While mortality was confined to acute cases, the overall survival rates were encouraging and comparable to international standards. These are my references. Thank you.